Here we go. It's New Year's Day 2025, and it's time to begin the new planting season. The first thing I always plant is onions. I'm going to be planting the calbra onions, my first time planting them. Also going to plant some old ruby red onion seeds. Not sure what kind of germination we'll get out of them, but we'll see what we can do with them. So I'm outside, going to be planting the seeds, not directly in the ground, in trays. But it's kind of mild out today. Not warm, but it's definitely not cold. But a heck of a wind has suddenly picked up here, so it might be a little challenging planting the seeds without having them blow all over the place. So I have my seed trays set up on my processing station in the garden. This is a tray of 40 cells, and this is a tray of 35 cells, so that gives me 75 cells. I'm only looking for 64 plants to go into the garden, so I figure this gives me plenty of room to pick the strongest plants at the time of planting them. Now last year, well 2 years ago, I planted them in a container like this. This is what I'm actually going to put the ruby red seeds into, because I'm not sure what the germination is, so I'm just going to throw them all in here and see what we get. But 2 years ago, I planted them in a tray like this, and then I teased them out, and that was a pain in the neck. Last year, I planted in individual cells, but they were very small cells. Like if you divided this into fourths, that's about what the size of a cell was, maybe a little bit larger, but they were very small. And I ended up keeping them in there. I don't know if that ultimately affected the onion plant at all. My onions weren't all that great last year. I wasn't happy with them. I mean, I got some, okay size onions, but I'm looking for bigger onions. And so what I'm hoping for this year, I'm going to put 2 or 3 seeds in every single one of these cells. It's big enough where I'm not going to need to transplant them afterwards. I could just leave them in the tray until the time that I'm ready to transplant them out. I don't need to pot them up. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to try and see if that'll work better for me this year. Always trying to refine my process. Now, I prepared the soil yesterday to make sure it'd be ready to go. It's my homemade seed starting mix, and I'll link a video right up here. So it's been, I wet it down so it was moist and let it sit overnight. So this should be ready to go right away. So let's get to planting. These are the calbra onions. I got them from High Mowing Seeds. It says it's a hybrid onion, and it takes 110 days to maturity. 100 seeds in here, so we should get almost 2 seeds in every tray, in every cell. So I've just made a slight depression in the tops of the soil, just a little bit to hold the seeds, and try and put in just like 2 seeds. You know what? I'm just going to do it by hand. A couple of years ago, I had made a seed dispenser out of PVC pipe, and it worked great. And for the life of me, I can't find it. I was just tearing apart my greenhouse looking for it, just because onion seeds are so small. They look like little pieces of charcoal. And what I'm actually doing is putting 2 in one cell, 1 in another, just to try to have enough to fill up the trays. Now I'll start filling up the other tray. I live near a commuter and corporate jet airport, and everybody must be coming in for the new year, and the jets fly right overhead. And of course my neighbor's dog loves me and is always howling for me to come pet him. So that'll be one of my next chores right after planting these seeds. And my dog's going nuts because he wants to play. To be honest, I didn't know how many seeds you got in these packs, and had I realized it was only 100 seeds, I probably would have gotten 2 packs. But that's just on me for not reading the label. But even so, out of 100, I should be able to get the 64 I was looking for. Yeah, boy, they must have counted out those things to the precise number. Whoa. One wants to blow my camera around. Hold on. There you go. So with the seeds in, I've got a bit more of seed starting mix, and I'm just going to lightly cover the seeds. Definitely don't want to plant onion seeds too deep, so just a light coating of the mix on top. Now with onion seeds, you don't put them on a heat mat. They actually do better if you keep them a little cool. So I'll just be putting these into my grow room until they sprout, and then I'll put them under lights. So what I'm going to do now is just put a little bit of water. The soil is already wet. I'm just wetting down the top so that there's good contact. And I'm not doing very much because, as I said, the soil was wet already. And that should be sufficient. Now I am going to do the ruby red onions, and I'm just going to sprinkle them the rest of my packet here. Because M.I. Gardner at least sends you 250 seeds, and his seeds are cheaper. So I'm just going to sprinkle these all over the top. As I said, these were last year's seeds. They're typically not very viable after a year. You might get some. So I'm just going to see what I can get out of it. If I get a couple of plants, that'll be great. And if I get more than that, well, maybe I'll have found what I'm going to be planting in that blank space on my garden plan. And then we'll just lightly water this as well. And the dogs are going nuts next door. So the last thing to do is to put a label on. And I've searched every year for the best method to create a label that'll last, that I can read throughout the year. Because usually by the time I get ready to plant, the labels have faded, or at some point in the garden they've disappeared. But the painter's tape and Sharpie marker has worked well. This is my from last year, and as you can see, all the labels are still quite readable. This was, looks like May 8th I planted the watermelon seed, and still perfectly legible. So this is my new go-to method. So gotta go get my painter's tape and make some labels for the trays. So I've got the labels on, and that just wasn't deep enough to have a label, so it's just laying in there. Yep, dog's still going nuts. So it's a good thing though we're winding down here, because it's starting to drizzle. Probably not going to amount to much, but still don't want the camera getting too wet. So the first planting of 2025 is done. We've got the onion seeds sown, and in a week or two we'll be getting the celery into the ground. If you want to see what Kodak, easy, relax. But if you want to see what we were doing in the garden last week, check out this video right here, and then subscribe and hit that notification bell. And that way you'll be able to follow along on the progress of all of our vegetables as we try to grow a supermarket in our own backyard. Okay, thanks for watching.